Welcome to the Boys and Ivy Chicago Cubs podcast. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Boys and Ivy. I'm your host, Jason Mead, alongside my partner in crime, Mr. Parker Parkshot Mead.
Hey, everybody.
So we want to thank you for tuning in to today's show. We have a big one for you today. We had some news that came out, some very sad and disturbing news that came out the other day. And we'll talk about that later on the show. But we're going to get started with the Cubs news of the day. The Cubs today, DFA Chris Flexen and Vidal Brujan, thank God. Cubs bring up Moises Ballesteros. Parker, what about Owen Cassidy, and is Hap hurt or not?
I don't see why they don't bring up Owen Cassidy right now because, Hap's not doing very well, like we said. But Hap, like you said early in the year, he's just like a roller coaster, like a lot of people. Like 1 month he'll be hot as fire, another month he'll be cold as ice. So, it's kind of hit or miss for him. But I say we give Owen Cassidy a shot, especially that we've lost 2 games in a row.
Yeah, we've lost a couple in a row here. We need to get back on the wagon here. But Chris Flexen, he was good at the beginning, but he hasn't been very good lately. Vidal Brujan, I've kind of been calling for him the last couple of shows as well. Some of those dead roster spots, we have guys that we can add to be part of our bench that need to hit. And those guys are our guy, Moises Ballesteros, and Owen Cassidy. Why not bring those guys up? Yes, we also have John Birdie that doesn't play a lot, but it's kind of a wasted roster spot. The only thing that's good about him is that we could use him as a pinch runner at sometimes, right?
Yes, that's one thing that's great about him. But also, Vidal, he was like a runner, like person that can get on base.
But he struggles defensively. Where do you put him, right?
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. We need to make some changes because obviously we've lost 2 games in a row and we need to get back on track. So I say we make a change.
Yes, sir. Monday's game was terrible. Parker, take us through it.
Well, we started off with a 3-0 lead, and then the Brewers then lit off the Brewers, but fall 8-4. Matthew Boyd was struggling on the mound. He was just walking everybody. He gave up 5 earned runs, which was the first run he's given up in, I think, his past 2 starts. And that's not good that he gave up 5 and 5
walks. Continue to give up the long ball.
Walks
that's been a problem.
Walks kill you.
Cubs seem to be throwing BP here lately and giving up all these home runs, which is concerning. And definitely we got to pick up somebody at the trade deadline. That's just what's going to happen. Cubs sucked again last night, lost 9-3. Andrew Vaughn has turned into Barry Bonds. This series, he's 4 for 7, 3 home runs and 7 RBIs. The grand slam killed us. And he's looked unreal since they picked him up.
Mm-hmm. They got him from the White Sox and goes to the Brewers, and now he's a stud. So
what are the Brewers doing to develop all these guys? Why can't we do that, right?
They're giving the young guys shots.
Yeah, that's true. Brain fart of the day, Parker.
Craig, please, for the love of God, put Nico at the top of the lineup. Put him at the leadoff spot. Like, what are you doing? He's a guy that, one, doesn't strike out, which is great for a leadoff person. He gets on base. He has the highest batting average on the team. Why not? You put him at the 5th spot. You put him at the 8th spot. You put him at the 1 spot for a game. And then 3 games later, he's batting everywhere else. Just keep him in 1 spot.
What is your job as a leadoff guy, Park? What is your job?
Get on base. Don't strike out. And I guess.
He fits the bill, right? He fits the bill.
Mm-hmm.
I said, the last show we read off our lineups, and I said PCA, and I've been saying it, but I'm gonna have to agree with you. Now, I've said it on the show that I do want Nico Horner to be a leadoff guy at some point too, but he's the guy. He is definitely the guy. So brain fart of the day. Come on, Craig, listen to us. Put him at the top of the lineup. Today's matchup, we got to win against Freddie. But, Parker, my confidence level right now, Cubs ain't scoring enough runs. We're serving up home run balls. and Freddie Peralta he's dominant against the Cubs. Do we win today?
Yes, we're gonna win
All right.
today.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Trade deadline is tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We need to make some moves. We're not scoring enough runs. Seiya Suzuki, haven't seen him. Michael Bush's been struggling. Tuck's been struggling. Where are we going to get some offense? We're going to have to pick up Eugenio Suarez. I don't know, but we need some pitching. We need some hitting, and by God, we need to win today. What do you think?
Yes, we need to get back only one game behind because right now 2 games behind. That's not looking good. We need to get one win. If we
Got
get one win, I think we'll be all right. But if we lose this game, we're in trouble.
Baltimore coming in this weekend, so hopefully we play a lot better. And then we got the Brewers coming back to town here in a couple weeks. But today's show is remembering a legend, Mr. Ryne Sandberg. My favorite player of all time is this guy right here. He will always be the biggest number 23 in Chicago for me, just because I'm more of a baseball guy than anything. Huge fan of him. Bobblehead of the day, Park, is no other than who?
Ryne Sandberg.
There he is. I got this one too, and he's got the statue one. Rhino, the GOAT second baseman of all time. There will never be another Ryne Sandberg. So the Sandberg shirt story, we're going to talk about that. Parker's got that. So here. If you look up here in the top corner, right here, I'm sitting up there in the crowd, and that is my 5th grade picture right here. I'll bring it up. This is me. This is me right here. And if you look, that was the shirt that my uncle bought me whenever I was my first trip to Wrigley, and I wore it in my school picture. And there it is right there. And I was able to find this shirt 30 years, or not 30, probably like 20 some years to the day. But I was able to find it on eBay, which is right here. And I was able to get it signed by Rhino. I told him the story about my very first Cubs game. My uncle bought me that shirt, and I was lucky enough to find that same shirt for Parker on Macari last week for $9. And check it out. It's the same one that I had when I was 10 years old. And that's the story of that shirt. But it was pretty cool to be able to talk to Rhino at the Cubs convention about it and get it autographed by him. And just a stand-up guy. But we're gonna today's a celebration of his life on this show. Like I said, he's my favorite player of all time, the greatest second baseman that ever walked the face of this earth. My thoughts and feelings are, it's kind of the last week or so, we kind of hinted around that some things weren't going good for him. He was getting worse, and obviously last night during the call of the game, we got the terrible news that Ryne Sandberg had passed away after his battle with cancer. We're just going to go over some stuff that about Sandberg. His name is Ryne D. Sandberg. He was named after Yankees pitcher Ryan Duran, born September 18, 1959. He was a quarterback and had offers to Washington State, but thank God he played baseball. Right, Park?
Yep.
He
kind of from the Phillies.
Yep. Parker, here you go.
Ryne was drafted in the 20th round of 1978. Of the 1978 draft. In 1982, he was traded to the Cubbies for Larry Boa and Pudge DeJesus or
Ivan DeJesus. DeJesus. Greatest trade in Cubs history. What do you think, Bart?
Yep.
Hey, I mean, it has to be, right? Has to be. But it wasn't a great start for Rhino. He started out 1 for 31. He heard a lot of boo birds and a lot of people saying he was just a throw-in to the deal. But it wasn't a good start for him. And like you said, he got booed. He's been open about that. And thank God they gave him a chance. But in 1984, it was a year of Rhino. Parker, read off those numbers.
He batted .314 with 19 dongs, 84 ribbies, and 19 triples. Holy cow. And his WAR that year was 8.5. Holy cow.
I mean, he had like 16 triples in Wrigley Field, which is hard to do. It was not like you're in some huge ballpark, but just the fact that he hit 19 triples in a year is unbelievable. He was the MVP that year, and the Cubs were, they weren't coming out of spring training that year. They were terrible. I think they lost like 11 games in a row in the 1984 spring training. I mean, obviously, I was too young to remember that, but I was only 4 years old. But I read up on my history about the Cubs. But they came out and they were on fire. They made some nice moves, getting Rick Sutcliffe and Bobby Denier. They got him too, as well as Sarge. And that 1984 year was a special year. The Cubs probably should have won the World Series that year, but it didn't work out that way. And then on June 23rd, 1984, was the epic Sandberg game. Parker, what did he do in that game?
He went 5 for 6, 5 game hits, or 5 hits in one game is awesome, with 2 home runs, or 2 game tying home runs off of Bruce Sutter in the ninth and 10th inning.
Yeah, it was the Sandberg game. If you check out this hat, that's what it was. It was a Sandberg game, but you can watch that on the marquee right now. They've been showing it since that happened the other night, but it's one of the greatest games ever because back then they only had one primetime game a week that was on a Saturday, and it happened to be against the Cardinals. And coming into that game, it was, a sold out crowd. It was one of the biggest rated games of all time, and obviously it was one of the greatest baseball games of all time, besides the November 2nd, 2016, where the Cubs won the World Series. Parker.
From 1984 to 1992, Sandberg won 9 straight Gold Gloves, and was an All-Star 10 times.
10-time All-Star Home Run Derby champ, and 9 straight Gold Gloves is unbelievable. But he focused more of his game on his defensive. Defensively, he was automatic. I think the one year he only made 1 throwing error, but he was just to see him. It's almost like Dansby. If you hit the ball to Dansby, if you hit the ball to Rhino, guess what? You're out. Might as well just, if you hit it his direction, just turn around and head back to the dugout. I know I'm a big guy about running through the bag, but you hit the ball to Rhino, just head on back to the dugout. He was a quiet superstar, and he played the game the right way. In 1994, Parker, he lost his passion for the game. He came back in 1996, 97, and then he retired for good. But one thing about him was that he kind of knew he wasn't one of those guys that take all the money and just go out there and play terrible. He respected the game enough to retire because he lost his passion for the game, but he went back to be with his kids and stuff like that because he was going through a divorce around that time in 1994. But then when he came back in 1996, then he still he played, but then that was it after that. And that year, Parker, he still hit 25 home runs in the year he came back.
And he hated the steroid era.
Oh, he did for sure.
He wanted the game to play right. In 2005, he caught the call to the Hall of Fame. Awesome. Even in his speech, he was humble and preached respecting the game.
And that's one thing that you can take away from him. And what do I always tell you as a player yourself?
Respect the game.
Absolutely respect the game. You only have 4 bats a game. You only get a couple balls hit to you a game. You hit a ball in the infield. What do I tell you to do?
Run hard.
Run hard. You never know what could happen. But
you hit a line drive right back at the pitcher. You catch it. You run all the way to the base. Touch it. Go back to your dugout.
And but yeah, he always respected the game. Even in his Hall of Fame speech at the end, he said he got there from one word, and that's respect. And just an iconic player for sure. His dream was to coach in the major leagues, and he coached in the minor leagues with the Cubs. But not only that, but he did coach for the Philadelphia Phillies for it was a year, and then he ended up resigning. But I'm kind of glad. Everybody thought that he would be the Cubs manager, but to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad that he never was, because it's almost like hiring. It's like hiring a friend to your business or whatever. What if you had to fire him or something? That relationship could be messed up. And honestly, I'm kind of glad he never did get to coach for the Cubs, because you never know what could have happened. But man, if he would have been on that 2016 team, he would have been a guy to lead the charge of the World Series, right?
Yep.
One of my favorite things up in Gallagher Way is the Rhino statue. It was unveiled there. It was last year. Yeah, it was right there. It was, and he was cancer free. He was cancer free there, and a couple months later, then it came back out that he was it came back with vengeance. So, and he passed away at 5:23. So that was
23.
it's pretty crazy right there. That's the time that he passed away. My what? Okay, so we got to meet Rhino up at the Cubs convention, and Class Act talked to us. It was what I think it was 3 years ago when we first met him. So here's a little story about that. So there's like a kids area that it's in the Cubs convention that we all went into, and we had some friends with us, and we went in there, and Rhino came in there, and he signed autographs for every single person in there. But not only that, me and myself, they say you never want to meet your heroes because they'll disappoint you. I promise you that wasn't the case with Ryne Sandberg. He was nothing but a class act, right, Park?
Yep. And he talked to you for about an hour, right?
It wasn't quite an
I
hour,
played
but
wiffle ball.
it was probably 20 minutes or so. But the fact that I got to talk to my childhood hero and talk baseball with him was awesome. And not only that, but him, asking about you guys and what's your favorite positions and stuff like that. And do you guys play baseball? He was awesome about that, and very, he didn't just worry about himself. He worried about everybody else as well. And you hear a lot of that going on right now, and they're talking. But what is your favorite memory of Sandberg?
My favorite memory of Sandberg would probably be just meeting him and just talking to him about him telling, like what you said about him telling me about baseball, and I mean that's just awesome. It's a Hall of Fame player, one of the best Cubs player ever. Get to talk to him. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my memories of being a kid, watching him on WGN play, fly around the bags, playing elite defense. One of the coolest events that I've seen was when they retired this number. I was lucky enough to go to that game where they hung the flag in the right field foul pole. That was really cool. But just this last part of the Cubs convention that we were at, and you kind of knew that would be it. And the fact that he went to, we even on Saturday night they played the bingo. He came out there. He was with all the fans, just taking it in, and,
I
and
like
it
that
was
too. That was
it,
cool.
it was awesome. It was just it's kind of a sad moment, but just to get to talk to him and get, I mean, obviously don't get to really know him but just for him to take the time out to pay attention to us and be up, just talk baseball and stuff was just awesome. So
Another cool part about when we met Sandberg, we met him in the elevator too.
yeah, tell
That's
us
cool.
tell us the story about that part.
So we were getting in the elevator, go back up to the room and get some like water and stuff because we were gonna head to the Bulls game. And we were in the elevator and we see this guy in the coat, and I can't remember exactly what he said. He said, or I think he said, "How are you guys doing?" And we said we're good, and then you were like, and Doug was like, "Is that Sandberg?" And then
Yeah,
he eventually started just talking to us. But it's crazy he had to be in a coat because
yeah, he had a
people
he
he
had a
did.
big pair of black glasses on. He had a hood over, and he was kind of, I think he was avoiding all the nerds in the in the lobby, but kind of seen him coming in, and he asked us how we were doing in the elevator, And then he said, "Hey, have you guys met anybody cool yet?" And we were like, "Not as cool as you, bud." But yeah, that was kind of cool to ride up in the elevator with Rhino. But yeah, definitely going to be missed. Icon and the greatest second baseman of all time, Parker.
Well, I want to say rest in peace to you, Rhino. Chicago will never forget 23.
Absolutely not. But we want to thank you for tuning in to today's show. The best way you can help us grow the show is hit like, comment below, anything you want to talk about. Hit the subscribe button, share it. But we want to thank you for tuning in to the show, and we hope you guys enjoy it. But yeah, this has definitely been a show that I wasn't looking forward to doing, but we are celebrating the life of Ryne Sandberg. We want to thank you for tuning in to today, and hopefully the Cubs can get a win today. We got the Cubs coming up here with here pretty soon, so hopefully we get a win and we get back on track, get a game back, and come back and just somehow catch fire. But we want to thank you for tuning in to today's show. Tomorrow's a trade deadline, so if anything happens in Cubs news, we'll be back on here tomorrow. If not, we will be back on probably Sunday night after the Baltimore series. And we want to thank you for tuning in to today's show. Break us down, Parker. Get us out of here.
This is Boys and Ivy. See ya.
See ya. Thank you for watching the Boys and Ivy Cubs podcast. And like always,
Go Cubs, go!